Hello, hello. Lesson 20 for you guys this week on our second type of what we call verbal phrases, which are when you take a verb and you use it as something else. This one is called a gerund, or gerund phrase, and we're also going to learn what an appositive is, although that is not actually, it's a new kind of phrase, but it is not a verbal, something different. Good things to be able to vary your sentence structure, of course, when we use them. So a gerund is a verb form ending, it always ends in ing, as opposed to a participle, which could end in ing or ed. Now notice you could easily mix those things up, right? Because if you have a verb not being a verb and it ends in ing, it could be either a participle or gerund, and that depends on how it's used, right? If it becomes a word that's modifying a noun, it's behaving as an adjective, then that's a participle. If it is an ing verb that becomes a thing, person, place, or thing itself, then it's a noun, and that's a gerund, okay? So it's a verb form ending in ing that's used as a noun, such as sewing has never interested me, okay? Now, you use gerunds all the time without thinking about it, right? I would say cycling is my favorite sport, right? That's a verb too, sewing is a verb, but here they're obviously being used as the subject of that sentence, therefore it's being used as a noun. Okay, so a gerund phrase is a gerund with any complements or modifiers attached to it to complete its meaning. So her enthusiastic cheering drew people from yards away. So that, right, it's essentially the word cheering that is the gerund, but these things are attached to it. So that's a gerund phrase. That also becomes the subject of the sentence. That's why it's a gerund. Moving the chair was not easy. Same kind of thing there. I wish they gave some more examples because it's not just subjects of sentences, although that is a good way to vary your sentence structure, not be redundant with the same thing on the front end all the time. But it could also be a direct object. It could be a predicate nominative and things like that. Object of a preposition. Any place where you could see a noun, you could conceivably have a gerund also. Okay, so pretty simple directions. Just try to find all the gerunds or gerund phrases in each sentence. That being said, does that mean that every time you see an ing verb, it's a gerund? No. Let's see if I can find an example here. No, I don't want to give that away. If you just have a subject and then a verb, you know, that's very often just going to be the verb of the sentence, right? But if it's used in some other way besides being a verb, that's when you might have a participle or a gerund. They also might throw in a participle here, like a present participle, and that's also not a gerund. So we'll see how you do. 15 of those, just try to find them all. Other thing in this lesson is appositives, and this is a noun or a pronoun placed next to another noun or pronoun after it for the most part to further identify it. My brother David is an engineer, okay? You would write sentences like that all the time, right? An appositive phrase contains an appositive in any words that modify it, just like all these other phrases. An appositive phrase is usually not essential to the meaning of the sentence, and appositives are often set off by commas. My brother David, an engineer in Philadelphia, enjoys his job. So that's extra information. We set it off with commas. Here, you pretty much want to say that for the meaning of the sentence, so you don't set it off by commas. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to find when they're set off by commas, obviously. Circle the appositive or appositive phrase in each sentence, okay? Same kind of thing. So it's the thing that comes second that renames or describes a noun that it comes right after, and any other modifiers with it. And let's also do 15 of those. That's it. Due by Wednesday night as usual for honors. Advanced Thursday night as usual. All right, see ya.